Hi, I'm a Mattison, certified nutrition coach and personal trainer with my Zeniverse. If you've got a body composition goal or you're just looking to maintain your weight, you might be familiar with the online calculators that are out there. You've got an inspirational burst and you want to be able to take the power for your health in your own hands. I fully support people being able to do that for their own bodies, but I will say some of those calculators are very off. And today we're going to go through 3 different calculators and see which ones and why are more effective. We're going to cover the Mayo Clinic calculator that is very trusted by many, and we're also going to cover one by the National Institute of Health, the NIH, that is also in partnership with the USDA. But we will start off with the My Zeniverse calculator that is based on the most accurate Mifflin-St. Jeor formula that I do cover in my entire masterclass. I do have a link to that in the description below. So without further ado, let's cover a case study. Let's say that we've got a theoretical person. Let's give him a name. Let's call him Dave. Let's say Dave is 42 years old, he's 6'4", and he weighs about 230 pounds, and he's happy with his weight. He wants to maintain it. He's got a 9-to-5 job that is a desk job, and he has to drive to work for a significant amount of time. I'm letting you know all these things prior to because they all matter as part of his calorie calculations. I will emphasize once again, he wants to maintain his 230 pounds and he ideally doesn't want to increase his exercise at all because he doesn't feel that he can fit it into his schedule. These are all things to consider when you are creating a client's plan. So let me walk you through the process. We're going to start off with the first calculator, the My Zeniverse calculator. Before we get too deep into it, some very important calculations are the basal metabolic rate. And if you're not sure about calories and you're still new to this idea and you're really confused by this video, there is a video there that I go through the calories in a very basic way. But if you also want more in-depth where I go into every specific detail, if you do feel lost in this video, I have an entire masterclass on that in the description below. You can access that. Now for this calculator, I already typed in the necessary information, but we know that Dave is 42 and we know that he is male, and that matters because of the formula used, and I will touch on that in a second. And we put his height 6'4" and we put his weight 230 pounds. This specific calculator of mine covers if someone wants to maintain their weight and they don't know their body fat percentage. I have another calculator for that one. This one shows that his calories needed for his basal metabolic rate, which is just the amount of energy for the vital functions of his body, is 2,047 calories. Now, obviously, he does do work. He drives to work, he sits, and he stands to cook, and he stands to shower, so he does certain things, even though he's considered relatively sedentary. Now, the second part is to name Dave's activity level. This is the most accurate way of doing this. Now, I use what's called the weighted activity factor method rather than standard activity factor. Again, I go into all of this in much more detail, including the formula I use for BMR in my masterclass, so check that out. But this one is the best way to calculate your activity levels. And you will not find this calculator anywhere else because I guess it's too difficult for people to make. And I did spend many hours making this. There is access to this calculator in the description below. So let's say that Dave spends about 8 hours sleeping, which most of us don't, but Dave does. So he spends 8 hours sleeping and he spends about 3 hours relaxed and reclining. That means that he's just watching TV, he's not working. Then he spends about 10 hours doing very light activity between driving and working his 9-to-5 job at a desk. That leaves only 3 hours left of the day, and he did track it himself, and he found that between standing to shower, standing to cook, and the walking that he did do throughout the day, it added up to about 3 hours. And so that cumulative total of the 24 hours has all been accounted for across the different type of activities that he did throughout the day. If you scroll down to the bottom, you will see that he has an activity factor of 1.05, which is very low. Means that he's very sedentary, but that's very common for a vast majority of the population. Now we take that weighted activity factor and we multiply it by the basal metabolic rate from above, and that's how you get the number shown below. To maintain his weight at 230 pounds, it would be recommended that he try to eat 2,158 calories per day to just maintain his weight if he wants to keep himself at 230 pounds. That's with the My Zeniverse calculator. Again, all my details on the formulas that I use and the formulas no one should use anymore are in the description below. Let's go to the other calculators out there that are free and easy to use for people. Starting off, let's go to Mayo Clinic. People trust Mayo Clinic because it says clinic and because it's widely used by people on Google. So let's see this calorie calculator. This one asks for the same things. It asks for your age, and we'll put 42, and then we're gonna put Dave's height, 6 foot 4 inches, and we're going to put his weight of 230 pounds that he wants to maintain, and we'll put that he is male. Now, I know what formula they use, and they use one that should not be used anymore. It is an old formula, and they've never updated anything. So that doesn't help you at all as a user that they didn't update anything. But let's see what they do for activity right now. Okay, select the statement that best describes Dave's usual activity level. Inactive is never or rarely include physical activity in your day. Now, we had Dave try this out for 3 days, and he never does exercise. He just works his job and tries his best to eat as good as he can. So Dave would put, in this case, inactive. Now, I will say this. Many clients think higher of their activity level than is the case. They read this and they see the word inactive and they think, well, I don't think I'm inactive. I'd say I'm somewhat active. And they put somewhat active. But let's just say inactive for now. We're going to put inactive and hit calculate. Dave's estimated calorie needs to maintain his 230 pounds that he really likes and feels good at is 2,600 calories recommended. I can tell you that the formula used is an older equation that has about a 43% chance of overestimating your caloric needs, let alone the activity factors that are included. Those numbers that are listed from inactive or somewhat active, those are pretty ambiguous for people to select, especially themselves. Now, Dave is going to abide by this 2,600 calorie diet because he trusts Mayo Clinic. I did the math for you and I broke it down. And I can tell you exactly how many pounds Dave is going to gain in 6 months of eating this way. When compared to the My Zeniverse calorie calculator that is from the most accurate formula and uses the most accurate activity factor, at this point, in the current scientific research, Dave is eating about 442 extra calories than what would be recommended from a more accurate formula. Given that he's eating 442 extra calories per day because he trusts Mayo Clinic and he is abiding by that calorie suggestion, in 6 months, Dave is going to gain about 21 pounds. He will now be 251 pounds. But wait, there's more. Let's say Dave didn't like the word inactive and he wanted to put somewhat active, as most people like to put. Now he's eating 2,900 calories a day, as per the suggestions that he trusts from Mayo Clinic. Let's see how much he's gonna gain in 6 months of consistently eating that way. Dave would be eating 742 extra calories above what the suggestion from the more accurate formula would be, and in just 6 months he would gain 36 pounds. Dave is now 266 because he trusted Mayo Clinic. And most people do. So that's one of the reasons I'm trying to shed light upon these calorie calculators. They do overestimate. They're just putting it out there for people and they're not updating any of the formulas. So I'm letting you know this, because no one else is. But it will continue to get more hilarious. Let's go to the next online calculator that a lot of people trust, one with the National Institute of Health, coupled with the United States Department of Agriculture that shares a body weight planner for you. I enjoy going through this one. All right, so here we are with the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. The NIH partners with them. And we have this body weight planner here. Conveniently, you can choose between metric and the United States units. Let's go ahead and type in Dave's weight. He's 230 pounds, and he likes that, and he wants to stay that way. He is a male, and he is 42 years old, 6 foot 4 inches, and oh, look out, physical activity level. Estimate your level. That's an interesting feature. Let's click that. Describe your physical activity at work or school. Okay, so Dave would probably select very light. Maybe he put light if he thinks that he does more than he does, but he would put very light. Let's just say that. Describe your physical activity at leisure time. Well, Dave doesn't really like to play sports. Dave likes to watch TV and he likes to edit for fun. So, what we're going to do is we're going to select that he's very light, just likes to lounge. And it says almost no activity at all. That's fine. That's what he likes. And we're going to hit save. Oh, it looks like it recommended an activity factor of 1.4. Not sure why I'm being so enthusiastic about that number. Let's go back to the MyZeniverse calculator and look at what his weighted activity factor score that still gets multiplied back to the basal metabolic rate in the back end. And this is why it's important to understand these calculations, because here you are inputting these numbers and you don't know what happens behind the scenes in these algorithms where they just spit out the number for you. I do cover all of that. Every one of these calculations, if you want to know once and for all, wait, what are these calculations based off of? How can I do them myself and know that they're going to be accurate? Check out my masterclass. It's 75 minutes long and it covers all of this. So that 1.4 number, that one right there, why is that bad to be a multiplier to the BMR? Let's go back to the MyZeniverse version where it's the weighted activity factor, where he actually had to type out his activity throughout the day. That one is 1.05. Multiplying 1.05 to his basal metabolic rate calculation, which is the number that he would need to maintain vital function in his body, that one is going to obviously give him a lot lower suggested calories to maintain his weight. And yet, here we are with the NIH Body Weight Planner, where there is a 1.4 physical activity level suggestion because they estimated it that way. Now, I will say, even with the older formulas, this is not a good physical activity level suggestion. This is not even the standard activity factors that people go with. The NIH is using 1.4 as sedentary, and every other protocol in science for the standard activity factor uses 1.2. So I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but let's just see what it calculates, just so that you see how much it actually is. Weight goal. This is a cool feature for people. Goal weight. He wants to stay the same, 230, so we're going to keep it the same. And he wants to reach his goal in, well, obviously it doesn't matter, so he can just jump past this part because he's the same weight he wants to be. Just hit next. To reach my goal, I will change my physical activity by, and he's going to put 0% because he didn't want to have to make any changes. He just wants to eat right because he's happy with himself. Look out. Calories. To maintain current weight. At 230 pounds, Dave will be eating 2,866 calories as recommended by the National Institute of Health in partnership with the USDA. Dave is going to be eating 708 extra calories per day, and in 6 months, he's going to be 34 extra pounds. All because he trusted the calculators on NIH. But wait, there's expert mode. Let's try this. Maybe there's some way that there's a way to put in his true activity level. Maybe it can get better. Okay, this is an expert mode on NIH. Look at that. Physical activity level. There's no difference. This is just all the steps I just did, all laid out so that I can make edits. So basically, they just took all the calculations and spread them out onto a page that looks more confusing so you think you're in expert mode. That's literally the only changes of this that I see. If I'm wrong and you guys see something that I don't, let me know. I see that it goes by fat percentage, but that's tracking it. This is, this is just expert mode. This doesn't really give any change to the suggested calories whatsoever at all. Case in point. So there you have it. I did want to offer this video just to shine the light upon these online calculators. There are formulas that go behind these calculators. Don't just trust everything. Even if you think it's from your government, people are kind of lazy. I mean, you know the speed of government. Things are pretty slow. And they haven't been updating the formulas that have thus far in science been proven to be not as accurate as others. I do offer these calculators, including ones that go off of real body fat percentage measurements. I offer these all for a very low fee. It would be like you buying me a cup of coffee if you enjoyed the information in this video, and you can have access to all of them, including being able to gain muscle and then also maintain your current weight, and then also being able to use your body fat percentage for an even more accurate way of calculating this. I do have an entire masterclass where I go in detail about all the calculations that are not and should not be used anymore. In the past, in scientific research, it has been found that the Mifflin-St. Jeor formula is the better one. And I go through more formulas in the masterclass. So check it out. It'd be great to see you there. It's a 75-minute masterclass. And otherwise, if you want more by me, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out my website, become a site member. It lets me know that you want more from me. So check it all out, and I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have.